Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I'd like to thank you to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala just because of His mercy and grace so I can finish and present my research paper. And then I'd like to thank you to my supervisors, Mrs. Tiara Evika Reviati MPD and Mrs. Siska Rizgiani MPD, who have given me support and guidance so I can complete my research paper. Well, before we are going to the topic, let me introduce myself first. My name is Ayu Lestari. I am an English education student 2018 in English Education Study Program, Faculty of Language Education, Institut Keguruan dan Ilmu Pendidikan Siliwangi. Well, this video is made for the requirement of students' final examination for Sarjana Pendidikan Degree in English Education. Well, let's move to the next slide. These are my presentation outlines. The first one is background of the research and then objective of the research. And the third one is research methodology and then result of the research. And the last one is conclusions of the research. Well, let's start with the first topic about background of the research. Writing. Writing is recognized as a challenging skill to master. Why does it call challenging skill? Let's see the opinion from Kate 2002. He said that writing is a complex process where the writers are allowed to explore thoughts and ideas and make them visible and concrete. We all know that writing is not an activity that is done instantly. There are so many processes to make sentence. We will explore our thoughts and then we have to find out what topic to be written and then we have to explore our ideas and so forth. So, what is the urgency? Having experience as a training teacher, I found the students' difficulties in writing, especially in describing things around them. The student couldn't express their ideas and they had low-level vocabulary related to the topic and they were not able to make a meaningful sentence. It is in line with the opinion from Reg 2018. He said that there are some obstacles that students face in writing. Students frequently struggle with generating ideas, selecting topic to write about, planning, drafting, rewriting, and editing their writing. So, I, as a researcher, give a solution by developing teaching material in writing descriptive text by using brainstorming picture technique through project-based learning at junior high school. Moreover, Rowe finds out that students who are trained using brainstorming picture technique in writing instruction have higher scores than those who are not. Additionally, the students have positive opinions of the brainstorming process and most of them believe that it has helped to improve their writing performance. It helped them to improve their writing performance. Okay, these are the objectives of the research. First one is to know the process of developing teaching material in writing descriptive text by using brainstorming picture technique, and then to know the visibility of the development of teaching material in writing descriptive text by using brainstorming picture technique, and then to investigate the teachers and student response toward the teaching material in writing descriptive text by using brainstorming picture technique. And the last one is to find out the obstacle when developing teaching material in writing descriptive text by using brainstorming picture technique. Let's move to the next slide about research methodology. This research used research and development or R&D by Borg and Gold model 1983. Borg and Gold state that the research development procedure consists of two main objectives. First one is developing a product and then testing the effectiveness of the product in achieving its goals. And for the research design, Borg and Gold 1983 proposed the research and development approach includes 10 general steps, but the researcher did an adaptation by using only 7 steps. They are research and information collecting, planning, develop a preliminary form of product, and then preliminary field testing, main product revision, main field testing, and operational field testing. And for the subject of the research, they were 29 students in 7th grade student junior high school in Cililin. 8 students were taken for preliminary field testing, and then 21 students were taken for main field testing. And then for the data collection, the researcher used interview guides that used when interviewing an English teacher in junior high school in Cililin, when the result itself will be a reference in developing the product. And then the researcher used observation sheet that is used in classroom activities when the product is being used. And then validation sheet that used to validate the product. The product will be validated by supervisor 1, supervisor 2, and then an English teacher from junior high school in Cililin. And the last one is questionnaire that used to know the response from the students and the teacher toward the product. And for the data analysis, the researcher used qualitative and quantitative data. Well, these are the process and result of developing the product. In the first step, I did analysis. First one is observation, when I had a training teacher, and then the next one is teacher interview. When having a training teacher, I found that students were enthusiastic when following the English teaching and learning, but they had difficulty expressing themselves in their writing when I asked them to write something, and they also could not describe the things around them. And then based on the result of the interview, the teacher explained that there is only one book that's used in the process of teaching and learning English. The book also been revised, however, there have been only modification made to the design and colors. The researcher. The teacher clarified that although the book currently being used in the teaching process is good, the language used was challenging for students to understand and making it tough for them to comprehend each of the materials presented. Then the teacher clarified that only a few students could create a good sentence in English, a complete sentence in English, and another student need a guidance from the teacher. And then students also struggle to write sentence because they are uncertain about what they want to be written. In this planning step, I try to determine how many units, what are the content, and what kinds of practice that would be created in the product. In this step also, I collect so many references from the internet or from the book that used in English learning activities. In the process of creating the product, I use Canva application because Canva application has more interesting and enjoyable template that will use to the 7th grade student. To make it simpler for a student to decide on the topic to be written, I also gather some images and illustration that correspond with the subject that will be covered in writing descriptive text. And to help students come up with the topic, I also offer an example of brainstorming, and then in the end of the module, in the learning module, I also create activity column for students like final project of learning descriptive text. Before doing preliminary field testing, I asked the validator to get an opinion whether the product is visible or not. After the validation, I did a small revision. In the preliminary field testing, I conducted a small scale test on the 8 students in the 7th grade. The students divided into 2 groups. Each group consists of 4 students, and then the students did a project of writing descriptive text by the picture that they selected. And then after that, I collect the data by conducting a questionnaire from the 8 students. When conducting preliminary field testing, I found some errors to the material, so I have to revise some of them, and then I also add some material in order to make students understand about it. In the main field testing, I took 21 students and they were divided into 4 groups, and then I explained the whole material in the descriptive text material, or let's say learning module, and then the students did a project that is in the module. After conducting preliminary field testing and then main field testing, in operational field testing, I asked to the teacher and students about the response to the descriptive text product. Well, this is my product result. This is the cover of the product, and then this is the example of brainstorming. And then the third picture that it is the project that students should be finished by group. But before finishing the product, the students have to create their own brainstorming by looking for the example of brainstorming of adjective in the page before. And then after creating their own brainstorming, the students have to fill out about their own designing project plan. What is the project title, what is the project objective, and then what is the result of the project, and then their name of group, and then their member of group. And then in the creating project timeline, the student can fill out their activities during the process of finishing the project. And then the last one, there is monitoring activity. I can see the students' progress about the project, and then what are their obstacles that is faced by them in designing the project. Well, let's move to the next slide. This is the feasibility result of developing the product. The product was evaluated by 2 validator from supervisor 1 and 2, and then by an English teacher in junior high school in Cililin. From the supervisor 1 got 80%, and from the supervisor 2 also got 80%, which indicate a fair category. It mean that the product can be used with a few revision. And then the result from an English teacher got 91%, which valid category. It means that the product can be used without revision. It can be concluded that teaching material in writing descriptive text by using brainstorming picture technique is feasible and can be applied in classroom activities. Well, these are the students' and teachers' responses toward the product. From the students' responses, I had a preliminary field testing and then main field testing. In the preliminary field testing stages, I got 92.8%, which a very good category. And then in main field testing, I got 91.4%, and also indicate very good category. And then from the result of teacher's response was also above 80%. It can be concluded that teaching material in writing descriptive text by using brainstorming picture technique got very good responses from the teacher and the students. In a very long process of developing the product, I also had some obstacles in developing the product. I had miscommunication with the teacher about the schedule for conducting the research, so I have to change for the research schedule, and then when creating appropriate material for the second grade student and designing interesting module and learning activities. And then when conducting the large scale test, that some of students were absent and they couldn't follow the classroom activity well. And the last one is when explaining the whole material in front of the classroom, because the students were so crowded, so I have to move to each group to explain the whole material in the descriptive text learning module. Well, we are now in the last slide of my presentation about conclusion of the research. The descriptive text teaching material by using brainstorming picture technique for 7th grade students has developed by using 7 stages of the Borg and Goal model. They are research and information collecting, planning, developing preliminary form of product, and then preliminary field testing, revision, main field testing, and then operational field testing. The descriptive text teaching material by using brainstorming picture technique is visible to be implemented at school. And then the students and teachers' responses to the product are very good. They are agreed that brainstorming pictures help them in expressing ideas and improve their motivation in writing. And then even though there are some obstacles that face in developing of descriptive text teaching material, however, it can be handled well. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.